Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is Godma, bringing you a 1v1 occasion on the map Desert Oasis. On the north position here is going to be Spliffy, who is, for the record, my 2v2 partner. He's going to be the purple Zerg. And myself, I'm playing as the orange Terran on the southern end of the map. And yeah, that's how it's going to be. Now, Desert Oasis, or for those of you who don't already know, it's it really discourages straight up ground attacks, as you can see just by the odd terrain. You have to take a very long trip over to your opponent's base to actually throw a good ground army in there. So the map really does encourage air gameplay. As you can see, the two bases are very close together by air and not by ground. Just excuse the lag spike here for a second. Not sure what's causing it. There we go. Sorry about that. Shouldn't happen too often in the future. But yeah, as I was saying, as actually this Overlord will demonstrate, its two bases are very close by air, not so much by ground. Spliffy cancelling his extractor here for some reason. Maybe he's got his build order a little bit jaded. Myself, I'm sending out my scouting SCV to, well, scout. Also starting my wall off here. Spliffy is dropping a fairly early spawning pool, a 10 pool. I'm not so sure about this placement. It's pretty out in the open, very easy for me to scout, and also actually just for me to take out if I was so inclined. But regardless, Spliffy may be trying for some early Zerglings, as these drones try to deter the scouting SCV. Getting that first barracks, trying to complete this wall off. Actually, returning to that spawning pool issue, getting a 10 pool on Desert Oasis, very risky, maybe not the most wise decision, just due to the fact that, I mean, I don't want to bash my buddy Spliffy here too much, but getting such an early spawning pool here on Desert Oasis, it's just obviously very difficult to successfully rush those Zerglings all the way down here into your opponent's base. I mean, by the time you get them out and play, and by the time you get them over to the opponent's base, it's either going to be walled off or more than prepared for the Zerglings. So that's what I have to say about that early spawning pool. In Spliffy's defense, I don't believe his main race is Zerg. You know, he's just doing what he can. But who knows, maybe he's planning on an early speed boost. Myself, I've got my 2 refineries in play, transferring those SCVs now. Just a quick word for the newer players out there. I believe mineral patches, all the mineral patches combined together, it stops becoming efficient to mine from them at, I believe, 24 workers. It's either 24 or 26, but once you have around that number of drones, SCVs, or probes, you should be taking a bunch of them off of your main expansion and transferring them, as it is no longer efficient for them to be mining. A good indication of when it's not efficient to be mining from a mineral patch anymore is if you see your workers, you know, kind of travel to one patch and then look to the left and right at the adjacent mineral patches to try to mine from them. It's because there's too many workers mining from it already. So yeah, that's a good indication of if it's not efficient to mine there anymore. It's pretty difficult to reach that point. It's gonna go into a late game if you see that. But yeah, the point is, if you do see SCVs fighting with each other to try to mine minerals, going from left to right to try to find available mineral patches, you need to pull them off, pull a handful off to give them some room, and transfer the ones that you select to a available expansion. On that note, extractors and assimilators, you want 3 workers on each refinery, assimilator, or extractor, as that is the ideal amount to be mining gas from. You can see the reason for that is while you have one guy going inside, getting that barrel of gas, the other one is finishing his trip, returning the gas, and the third one is doing the actual transportation. He's got his queen out, but with 63 energy he needs to be spawning some larvae to help his economy a little bit. myself, I'm placing a supply depot here to get vision of this entrance to my base. Possibly, yeah, we've got siege tanks coming out of these factories, although I am supply blocked, or I was supply blocked like a pro. Now the siege tanks are coming out, but definitely a very mech heavy build coming out from Spiffy myself. Also building that safety command center within the proximity of my own base. Probably going to lift that off later and move it to my natural expansion. It's never a good thing to have a Terran expanding while the Zerg player isn't. As I said in one of my previous games, you really need to have more expansions than your opponent as a Zerg player, just because you want to maintain that economic advantage over your opponent if you're playing as the Zerg race. Seeing some Baneling tech instead from a Spliffy. Possibly going to move out with these Zerglings and do some Baneling attacks. My armory isn't played, no upgrades on the way yet, probably just to enable the building of Thors. And just doing a little bit of whining here as for some reason my Starcraft 2 got minimized. I don't get that a lot, and I thought I had that fixed, but I did get minimized, and that was the reason for my whining. Lifting off that command center now, I'm going to be flying it over to an expansion. Spliffy sending out some scout overlords to keep a watchful overmind eye over these expansions to make sure I'm not doing anything too rash. I do choose to land my command center in the most naturalist of expansions, just down here in the corner, where it's relatively easy to defend. In fact, yeah, as I'm just realizing now, I can definitely siege up these siege tanks over this entrance and simultaneously protect my choke and my natural within the huge range of these siege tanks. Just taking a look at production, I'm trying to upgrade the mechs that I already have in play. Meanwhile, Spliffy's building a spire, so he's pretty sick of the fact that he can't use his Banelings and Zerglings very much. He's just going to tech to air and straight up fly his units across the map over this short distance to my base, or at least that would be my speculation. Some larvae coming down here from the Queen. She needs to inject some